This is why you suck at talking to girls, and this is coming from someone who used to be terrible at talking to girls. I had every single thing lined up against me that was holding me back from success. I had social anxiety, every single negative thought and limiting belief that you can think of. I didn't think I was good enough, didn't know what to say, lacked social skills. The list goes on, and this is how I operated for the first 19 years of my life, and I really struggled to meet girls or have any good conversations with them. So after 19, I was able to make a change by reading some books, learning about conversation, going out and actually practicing so that I was able to get really good at talking to girls. And now over these last 4 years after making that change, I've genuinely spoken to thousands of girls. Now, I'm not saying every conversation's good. Some lead to rejections within 15, 20 seconds, but I'm saying I've went out and talked to thousands of girls, and you'll understand why this is important later. But I've been able to develop and become very good at it overall, so that in the mix of the rejections, there is a ton of success. And I feel very confident in my communicative abilities to talk to girls and get the things that I want in dating, which is ultimately the goal that everyone has, is to have the success that they want. And I've been able to achieve that. So I'm going to be breaking this down for you, whether you're a complete beginner and never spoke to a girl in your life, or if you're someone who's, getting started and you could use some of these pieces of advice because they're extremely valuable and things that I still remind myself to this day after having all this success. So before we dive into it, I created a conversation mastery guide for every single one of you, breaking down how you can start and have great conversations without overthinking it and just giving you the play that I use consistently that leads to success. So that's completely for free. It's the first link in the description below. And the first reason that you're not good at talking to girls is because you haven't gotten enough reps in to actually get good at it. It is a skill like anything else in life. And if you only try once or a couple of times and you don't take the time to be bad at it, you're never going to get good. And I give you an example. When I was 19, it was the first time I ever thought of cold approaching because I moved to a new city and knew absolutely no one there. And I went to the mall and went up to these two girls and just waved my hand and said, "Hey, what's up?" And they completely ignored me. And I went to the bathroom. I called my friend from the town I just left. And I was like, "Bro, this is terrible. I fucking hate cold approaching. I'm never doing this again." And I left. And that was my first experience with it. And I didn't cold approach again for months. And I didn't put myself out there or talk to any girls. And it only worsened all those issues that I already had when I was younger. So you cannot let things like that happen to you. You need to understand that there's going to be a phase where you might suck a little bit, or you might deal with some rejections. And I still deal with rejections to this day, by the way. So it's not like that's ever gonna really end. You're always gonna have some rejections, and that's just a part of life. But if you're not that great at it, if you're not confident with it, you have to embrace the period of being kind of bad at it. Like I was kind of bad at it for a little bit until I read the books, and then I got better, and then I started to make little changes and everything started to piece together. But I had to have that courage to put myself out there, even when I was unsure if I was gonna get the results that these books were telling me I was gonna get. So that's really what it comes down to, is understanding that you might suck for a little bit, but you have to persist long enough to get good at the skill. That's really the key. And then over time, you're gonna develop your own communicative style that you will be confident with. So now I know, the guide that I'm giving you guys, that's what I'm very confident with. So if I go up to a girl, this is what I talk about to start the conversation. And I'm very confident that if the girl is into me, I'm able to take this as far as I want to take it. And if she's not into me, I'm just going to end the conversation after 30 seconds, and I'm going to be able to pick up on her nonverbal communication, her enthusiasm, the tonality, because these are all things that you'll learn after talking to so many people. You'll be able to match, body language, tonality, enthusiasm to the girls that are interested in you and things that have worked out, and the ones that are bad to the ones that don't work out. And you'll be able to quickly just be like, "Okay, not interested. Okay, have a nice night. It was nice to meet you." And then you go on and talk to someone, and then they're interested, and it works out. But you have to be able to piece everything together, and it takes reps. It takes practice to get to that point. And here's some of the things that you can do to embrace the period of not being good at the skill of conversation or just being confident with talking to girls. So the first thing that you can do is let go of any one conversation that you have with a girl. Do not go into it being like, "This girl is gonna be my girlfriend," or "I need to sleep with this girl." That's never going to work out. It's gonna put so much importance on that thing that it's usually not going to work out, because now you're going to be, hyping it up to be this big deal when it really isn't. You're going to be making it out to be a bigger deal in your head, and you're going to get nervous. You're going to say the wrong thing. Whereas if you just went into it with, oh, there's a girl, she's cute. Yeah, I would like to date her. I would like to sleep with her, but that doesn't really matter. Let's just see what happens. Let's just go and try this stuff out and see if I can start a good conversation and see if she's even interested, and take it one step at a time. That's much more of a appropriate and better mindset that's going to lead to success over the long run. And if you don't attach to any one girl or any one conversation, you're in such a better position to actually succeed. Practice the things you want to practice, all the things that you're learning, whether it's from YouTube, from books. You're going to actually be able to apply those things and notice the things you want to notice without being nervous and having too much excessive importance on that, because it's just going to mess you up. And another thing that you can do is have the experimental practice mindset going into it. Don't think of it like a test where you have to get the answers right, you have to succeed, your grade depends on this. That sort of mindset is so toxic when it comes to learning a new skill and trying to get good at something. Whereas if you just come into it with the practice mindset, you're like, today with this girl, I'm going to try what Seb said. I'm going to experiment with this and let's see how it goes. I'm going to give this a try for a little bit. Let's just try this out. Who cares what happens? And another thing is, if you can let go of the expectation of sex, it will also reduce a lot of importance, because now you don't really care. You're just practicing for the sake of practicing and getting better at the skill. And as a result, you probably will end up actually getting sex, which is the ironic part, which happened to me. But I remember being 19, being really socially anxious and nervous to put myself out there and do these things. But when I applied this sort of practice experimental mindset, letting go of like this whole test bullshit that you learn in school, I was able to just make everything into practice. I was like, oh, this is just practice. And that was kind of a mental reframe. Even if it's a little silly, it's what helped me get through it and overcome that social anxiety and test different things in every single stage of getting to know a girl, whether it was an initial conversation, texting her, I was on FaceTime with her, whether I'd slept with her and then talked with her after. I just had to experiment with all these different phases so I was able to be comfortable with them and know what happens, like what do you normally talk about, what do girls like to talk about, and you can kind of piece things together as a whole and be a smooth operator. But if you're so nervous, if you're so anxious, it's gonna be very hard for you to practice, and just also getting general practice and not even caring, like I was saying, letting go of the outcome of sex. If you just practice getting to know girls in different stages, even if things don't end up working out, it's not the end of the world. Like, obviously you don't want to be a simp and just give girls tons and tons of attention for no reason, but it's another thing to practice, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but who really cares? You know, you gave it a try, you learned from it, and then you can move on and you can apply those to the next thing, and you can try different styles and see what happens. But if you come into it with that experimental practice mindset, it will really change the game for you. And this last thing is really what changed everything for me, which was going out and getting new knowledge, specifically from books, and then executing on that immediately, going out and practicing what I learned. And specifically, this is what helped me overcome my lack of social skills, lack of confidence. I didn't know what to say. I didn't really understand too much in terms of human psychology and how people operated. So reading these books on social skills, charisma, charm, just communication as a whole, understanding these things were really key for me to change my beliefs and my worldviews to something that's more accurate and not just full of limiting beliefs on what my mind was telling me and what's actually real once you apply these things. And then when I went out and applied them, it was creating positive feedback loops, ingraining those new things into my mind so I could operate with them automatically. And that was really what changed everything for me. So the key here is taking action. You don't even need that much knowledge, but if you just took action on it, it would massively help you out. And that's why I created the Conversation Mastery Guide for you, because that's given you everything that I use. It makes everything so simple, so clear. You can just go out and practice with this right away and get some results from it and hopefully have those shifts. And if you want to really learn further, of course, you pick up the social skills, charisma books, and you'll be able to learn so much more in depth. But this is such a great starting point where it's like you have a piece of knowledge that you can just take and go and execute on and apply and see how it works for you in real time, which is super valuable. So for that reason, that's completely for free. It's the first link in the description below. You can grab that now.